favorite shows: D-Rock 951, Soul to Soul Gospel, The Big Link Up, Power Drive 951, Sports Rap, The Quiet Side of Q. Interact live with your show hosts and Q family listeners worldwide in real time. Make your comments, give your feedback, tell the world what's on your mind in the comments box at the bottom of the pages at Q95DA.com. You interact and connect instantly with friends and Q family members on the hottest social networks: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Messenger, Gmail, Google+. Make your comments in the box at the bottom of each news story on the news page by clicking on the headline of the news story. Log in to Q95DA.com. You'll just love to surf every unique page on our brand new dynamic interactive Q Family website. Browse through our interesting pages in your Q Family photo gallery. Listen to live audio. Watch intriguing videos on QTV on our homepage and in our video gallery. Q95 has long gone global. Place your web banners and video ads where the world is watching and listening on the big station, Q95DA.com, streaming crystal clear audio and video in total liquid stereo. Don't miss out. Check Q95DA.com today and every day. Check it right now. Immerse yourself in what's hot and happening at www.Q95DA.com. Lock it in. Right on Q, the big station.
It's 1:06 in the afternoon. A time for Talk on the Block. Good afternoon. Hope you're enjoying your lunchtime. If it's on the block, we'll talk about it. Somebody wanted to hear this song. I don't know why. Just before I start the Talk on the Block. Looking into mine, seeing what you want to see. Your picture, welcome out. Don't say a word, 'cause I heard what your body's saying to mine. Fast moves, I got a slow groove on my mind. I want a man with a slow hand. I want a lover with an easy touch. I want somebody who will spend the time, not come and go in a heat rush. I want somebody who will understand. When it comes to love, I want a slow hand. Ooh. On the shadow ground, with no one around, and a blanket of stars. Of all songs in the book, you want to wish that song? You're requesting this one? Questions, huh? Rolling in my mind now. Darling, don't say a word, 'cause I already heard what your body's saying to mine. I want it all night. Say it's all
The
right.
Big Station.
Ooh, right on cue. Your wish is my command. Enjoying this one there from the Pointer Sisters. This is what you requested. Your wish is my command, okay? Easy touch in the afternoon. Say no names, no warrant, huh? Dominica, we're here. Of course, debate in the House as government seek parliamentary approval for a credit facility of $103.95 million from the IDA, International Development Association. 103.95. The initiative forms part of the government's plan to advance production of geothermal energy, which includes establishing a new power plant to facilitate connectivity between the geothermal power plant in Loda and the hydroelectrical power plants situated in the Roseau Valley. The interconnected network is intended to extend to Domlec substation at Fokole, reportedly to enhance distribution capabilities to serve electricity consumers effectively. On the line with me, of course, I've always spoken out for a very long time. Is our government heading the right way as it relates to geothermal? Have we expended too much money? We have not generated 1 megawatt of electricity. That's the question on the table. Arthur Mata is on the telephone. Is that value for money? Mr. Mata, good afternoon to you. Long time. How are you?
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm here. Listening and paying attention.
Yeah, I gather that's what you're doing most of now. Listening and paying attention.
That's it.
Absolutely.
What is before us, Athi? What is before us? A lot of debate in the House at this time.
Well, I mean, the debate is really, just a show, because
You call it a show?
yeah, any proposition that the government brings to the parliament, I mean, even before it is brought and laid before the parliament, is approved. I mean, let's be clear. I mean, we don't have a lot of time. So, in truth and in fact, they go through the motions of parliamentary discussion and debate and so forth. But you can only have a proper debate and discussion if the people engaged are informed, if they've read, if they've studied, if they've listened like you are doing. Otherwise, they have nothing to contribute. For example, there have been lots of reports on the progress of this project going back to 2006, 2008. There's a report in 2014. There's a report in 2023. So there's no lack of information. There's no lack of data. So there will be no excuse for an uninformed parliament. Okay? And what I'm suggesting is if you took time to listen to the parliamentary debate, you would find that even on the raw technical and engineering details that Mr. Matthew was raising, that most of the members of the parliament would probably not know very much, and as a result would not be speaking very much or intelligently to the matter. So I would like to suggest that rather than going through the motions of a debate, the parliamentarians should have spent some time being informed about it.
Yes, you there?
1 second.
All right. Okay.
1 second, man.
No problem. I'm waiting there and wait.
Matt, could you call me back in about 5 minutes, please?
I'll call you back. I suspect we have some situation there. Give me 5 minutes. In the meantime, while we wait our guests, we'll do this one for you, okay? It's just the afternoon.
Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world that I found is too good to be true. Standing here beside you, want so much to give you this love in my heart that I'm feeling for you.
Let them see we're crazy. I don't care about that. Put your hand in my hand, baby. Don't ever look back. Let the world around us just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we're heart to heart. We can build this thing together. Standing strong forever. If this world runs out of love, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us now.
I'm so glad I found you. I'm not gonna lose you. Whatever it takes, I will stay here with you. Take it to the good times, see it through the bad times. Whatever it takes is what I'm gonna do.
Let them see we're crazy. What do they know? Put your arms around me, baby, don't ever let the world around us just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we're heart to heart. And we can build this dream together, standing strong forever. Nothing's gonna stop us now. And if this world runs out of love, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us. All that I need is you. All that I need. All that I want to do. Hold you forever, forever and ever.
The Big Station.
Right on cue. Right on cue. Right on cue. Right on cue.
We still have each other, and nothing's gonna stop us, huh? And the afternoon is 1:18. Back with Arthur Martin, who have to just take a break, take care of some business. We're happy to engage you again, Arthur. So you were suggesting just before the break there, Arthur, you're saying this is just another talk shop, no value for money.
No value for money because, frankly, I would be prepared to wager a very generous bet that the available data and information on that project, which started almost 2 decades ago, has not been read and is not understood by the people who we are asking to give their approval for an increase of the national debt by over $100 million. So that's the first point. We are still asking people who have not been prepared to handle the assignment of parliamentary leadership to make decisions that actually impact every single one of us, our children and grandchildren. That's one. Number two, the fact of the matter is, there's a 2014 report, and in fact, there's a more recent one, a 2023, July 2023 report on the status of that project, which makes it quite clear that after having spent close to $300 million, yes, you heard me right.
300?
300 million, a combination of some grant and a lot of loan. After having spent that amount of money, we are, and at that point, we're not even close to generating, to use your term, even 1 megawatt of power.
Wow.
And now we are going to increase the national debt, which, by the way, the national debt is 124% of the GDP. So we are already way beyond the allowable national debt as per international finance prudential practice. So we are now seeking to do that, to expand the debt. And one would have thought, okay, if it was a good idea, it's an idea that you have to keep under scrutiny because you are spending lots of money. And if you're not making the progress that you expected to make, then obviously you have to change course because only a fool continues along a road that they know doesn't have a destination. So that's the second point. The third point is that at one time, you recall, we had the French involved with us as full partners.
They were interested in that, yes. Mm-hmm.
They were partners with us in financing, in providing the technology, as well, critically, as being a purchaser of power from geothermal generated power in Dominica, because it was anticipated that we would have more than what we would need, and as a result, we would have some power to sell. The fact of the matter is, the French, right before they entered into a final agreement with us, as any intelligent group would do, they sent a team of 15 scientists to Dominica to assess the progress of that project and to advise Electricité de France and the government of France as to whether or not we should stick to the arrangement of being a power purchaser from Dominica. The net result, I can't go into the details, you don't have the time. The net result is that the advice was no, we shouldn't do this because, the structural, technical, and engineering works so far suggest that the power that is going to come out of geothermal in Dominica is going to be much more expensive than what we're paying Electricité de France to supply power in Guadeloupe and Martinique. And so they pulled out. The French pulled out. They are no longer available to purchase power from us because the scientists advised that the power will be too expensive. And that gets to the point that Mr. Matthew was raising. Have we been told, Matt? When there are well-established formula for calculating the projected cost of energy coming from geothermal based on things like how deep did you have to drill to get the geothermal? How extensive is the geothermal field? Because, Matt, every time you drill a well, you have to start finding a replacement well, because that well has a predetermined lifespan. It's not forever. The power below the earth is forever, but the well that you've drilled to access that power eventually caves, eventually dies, and you have to have a replacement in place, otherwise you will lose power. Okay, so these are the things that the French saw, and that's why they pulled out. So from a purely economic standpoint, in terms of the engineering costs that they saw we had already undertaken, they realized this was a non-starter. The French also had archaeologists, they had social scientists, they had planners with them on that team. The person who coordinated this team locally was well-known forester and environmental impact assessment practitioner, Mrs. Edwards. So it's clear that they saw some things. And you know what it is? The French team moved the boundary for the impact area for the geothermal project, which ended somewhere in the original boundaries ended somewhere just below Wharton Waven. The French moved the boundary to the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard. You know why? Because the entire city of Roseau is within what the scientists refer to as the impact area of that project, meaning not just impact in terms of power and energy and electricity, but impact in terms of if anything goes wrong in the project in Loda, the impact area goes all the way down to the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard. And in their assessment, as the French scientist assessment, there was too much of a chance of something going wrong which would impact the capital city of Dominica. And the French did not want to be associated.
So Mr. Vince Henderson, who is the energy minister, is he aware of that?
He should be. He should be aware. He is certainly aware of the next bit of information I'm going to say, which is that several years ago, the World Bank coordinated the preparation of a best practices manual for the exploration and development of geothermal energy. And they drew on all geothermal power situations, plants existing from all over the world. And they created this manual. That manual exists, and I'm sure that Henderson would have availed himself of that. And that manual says things like this. It says the minimum size of a geothermal, commercial geothermal facility that would allow for a reduced cost of electricity per watt, per kilowatt, is 50 megawatts. The minimum size. So it's only after you get to a power production platform of 50 megawatts, that is when you will begin to register a reduced cost, significant reduction in the cost of electricity. That's the point that Mr. Matthew was raising. And it is in the best practices manual prepared by the World Bank, which is the standard operating procedure and protocol for the design, exploration, development, and management of geothermal projects worldwide, supervised by the World Bank. Okay? So the fact of the matter then is, if that is the case, why then are we proceeding when the only production well site that we have actually uncovered is a well capable of delivering 7 megawatts?
7, you said? 7.
7 megawatts. I know everybody associated with the project knows that. Now, 7 megawatts is a good size of a well in terms of output for what is called in the industry the testing of the resource through the establishment of a pilot production system, where you run a 7 megawatt plant for a period of 6 to 11 years, which will satisfy the industry that, yes, that plant is secure because the reservoir has been constant in its delivery of power to that pilot plant. So now you can proceed with expansion up to the point where you get close to producing 50.
So I say there's no guarantee as we speak. I mean, we exploring a network there. There's no guarantee. I just can't understand that.
Absolutely no guarantee. It's not like if you were building a hydro plant. Like we have hydro.
Mm-hmm.
You design your water catchment, you design your pipelines, you design your generating system, and as long as you stick to that, you're going to get your 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 megawatts of power. The same thing for solar. You know that if you put a solar field down of, if you cover 40 acres of land with panels able to deliver, 500 watts or 1,000, you can calculate arithmetically the output. It's predictable in terms of what you will get out of that field. You can do the same with wind power and turbine power, etc., etc. You can also adjust those numbers for the times when maybe your wind may not be as heavy, or your sunlight hours may be reduced because of cloud cover, etc. And so you adjust that, but it is predictable. Unlike geothermal, which is a living, breathing system, just like wind, just like water, all living, breathing systems, but a different type of system, which you have to extract up and convert from that raw extract into steam that is going to drive your power plant.
Actually, I want to listen to a conversation I think Mr. Vince Henderson had with some media group in recent times. Listen to Mr.
Dominica has been developing this way before St. Dominica has been developing this way before St. Vincent and the Grenadines came in the game. So if there is something to learn, is that St. Vincent should have learned from us a bit. I should tell Deacon that. But the truth is, we've been on this road since 1974. Our parliament created a geothermal development company. We started exploring geothermal power in Dominica in 1969. And obviously, over the years, we've not been able to. But when we stepped up our investment by 2008, we tested. We actually drilled 3 exploratory wells to determine that we had the resource by 2012. And it was proven commercially viable. So what we're talking about now is really and truly, it is a question my friend asked. It is, our concern was always what the consumers would have to pay for that power, not whether there was a commercially viable project, because that was proven since 2012. By 2014, we drilled our first production well, which was great. And it's still there and it's still great because we tested it last year. We have since then drilled 2 more wells, which have resulted in at least 22 megawatts of steam. So that means that we can actually construct a 20 megawatt power plant that will be viable. Last December, we signed an agreement with Ormat to build a 10 megawatt plant as a first step. Our ambitions to export to Martinique and Guadeloupe have been affected because of the lack of interest of our French partners. And we are now reconsidering the opportunities and the options that are there. So when we speak about interconnecting the region and selling power to other islands in the Caribbean, it is not something that will determine whether or not we develop a geothermal plant. We're saying that the potential is so great, and we have proven it, that we should seriously be considering exporting that power, or at least producing energy cells that can be exported. So we have learned from everybody who has done everything that we think is of value. But the truth about geothermal energy, Dominica has been pursuing this for the longest in the region. And thank God today we are getting to the point where we are getting very close to actually getting it done. But anything can happen. I'm not a betting man.
He's not a betting man, I see. Saying everything will happen. You heard that conversation. Let me say, ask him, Martin.
I didn't hear very clearly what he was saying, except the last part where he said, what was the last
He said he's not a betting man, but he's like pretty optimistic it's going to happen.
Yeah, but but who's taking the risk of the bet? He's placing all the risk on the population of the country. $100+ million to add to a close to $300 million expenditure to date, and so it's very easy for somebody who is not personally liable to be making those kinds of statements. But it's not very easy if they're talking with people who are knowledgeable. And the point is, he talks about 7, maybe even he mentioned 2 other wells.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 other wells are not proven wells. And that in any case, even if you grant 21 megawatts, the best practices manual for geothermal said, even at 20 megs output, you're not going to see the benefits in terms of the cost benefits. You're not going to get value for money because of the very significant cost of investment in exploration and building other things. But there are other things that he's not taking into account at all. But from a purely engineering and technical standpoint vis-a-vis geothermal, he is still, even in his utterance, not providing any assurance that there is enough power to even supply Dominica. Dominica has a peak demand of 22 megawatts.
Mm-hmm.
So even with 3 wells, and giving you 21, 22 megawatts, what power is going to be left to share with anybody else? And at what cost? Because to get the power from Dominica to Martinique or Guadeloupe, there's another major cost involved, which is the cost of building a power line under the ocean. So Matt, all of this is just very loose talk that he's engaged in. Because remember, while he was putting this all together, he was in conversation with people who themselves knew nothing about geothermal. Bill Clinton and his dear wife, the Clinton Institute. So let's be very clear that, people are taking risks with something that belongs to somebody else. The somebody else that place and that land and water and geothermal resource belongs to is the people of Dominica. What engagement has there been with a cross section of the people of Dominica? Look, you have a geologist like Mr. Matthew. There are other Dominican geologists and engineers. They have not been engaged. Their advice has not been sought. So that this is just politicians continuing to play popiage.
No, Arthur. Even at this late stage, you're just not optimistic that nothing will happen there.
No, let me put it this way. Something is happening there, but I don't believe it's going to be power at the level that they are talking about, in terms of a level where we would register on your electricity bill a reduced cost of power. But there's something else that's not being calculated. There are other costs that I do not see anywhere in the accounting.
Mm-hmm.
The Roseau Valley is already producing for 4 major industries in Dominica. I wonder if you can remember what those are, Matt. It's already producing for tourism. Over $100 million in its best years, but certainly not under $50 million in any year in terms of tourism-generated revenue, just from people going there to see what is there. That's tourism. Agriculture, Loda, Trafalgar, Cochrane, all these places have farming communities which are producing and have produced over the decades of Dominica's history significant vegetables and fruits and so forth. That's an industry. There's another industry. There's a water industry. Dominica gets water, free flowing through the Roseau River and the waterfalls, but also Dowasco draws water from that system for delivery. And finally, we're already getting hydropower electricity. So you have a situation where you have 4 operating industries, each of which are being fueled by the natural resource system of the valley. This is not to say that there shouldn't be exploration for other sources of energy, like solar, like wind, or even geothermal. But you cannot discount. And so I want to ask, what is the opportunity cost in economic terms? In other words, what's going to be the impact or the loss to these 4 operating industries from this one industry which does not have any assurance of being able to produce the product it claims that it's producing? And that's an important point Mr. Matthew also makes, which is, who is asking those questions inside? Are there any people in Parliament today asking those questions? Hey, what's going to be the impact on this? What's going to be the impact on the safety of the people in those communities and the community of Roseau? I also want to add, there is a document which is an approved development plan by this administration, right, for climate resilient development, which was developed and approved 2012. And it was a plan which has a lifetime for over 8-10 years, so it's still alive. In that plan, this same administration of which the gentleman we listened to just now is a part of, agreed that the approved strategy for developing energy for Dominica is as follows. We will develop and use solar power on the West Coast. We'll develop and use wind power on the East Coast. We will expand and reinstate hydro power, and we will explore for geothermal. Now, we have explored, you heard him say, he started exploring in the early 2000s. That's about 20 years, Matt, that we started exploring. You point to me, what have we done about hydro? We had a hydro plant that at its peak used to deliver 11 megawatts of power. It's been destroyed and damaged, so it's delivering, we understand, anywhere between 4 and 6 megawatts. But it can be restored. It can be rebuilt. The Eugenia Charles government had restored and expanded Dominica's geothermal capacity, hydro capacity when they were in office. Okay? So that is there to be done, and it's not guesswork. We know how to do that. We did it before. We can do it again. So we could restore hydro in the valley to the point of 11, 12 megawatts without interfering with agriculture, tourism, and water supply. So we could do that. On the west coast, from 4 acres of land, you could lay down enough solar panels to generate 1 megawatt of power. Listen to the math, man. From 4 acres of land, you can generate 1 megawatt. You don't have to do any engineering works to the land. For instance, you take the land in Kulibistri, that whole stone ridge just north of the village of Kulibistri. That's a perfect location for establishing a solar farm. You have close to 60, 70 acres of land there, private ownership. So if you have 4 acres giving you 1 megawatt, if you want 10 megawatts, how many acres do you need? You need about 40, right? But if you have 100 acres, do you understand, Matt, that you could simply install proven, established technology? You don't have to investigate and research. You can buy the panels off the shelf. Guess what? One of our best friends in the world is the leading manufacturer of solar panels, China. The leading manufacturer in the world is China. So we could have had enough panel coverage on a 30, 40, or 80 acre plot of land that would give us, at the flip of a switch, more energy than we are spending going on $400 million exploring and searching for geothermal, while interfering with other industries that are already in full flight. And that land in Kulibistri and other land along the west coast and so forth, which is basically land that is lying idle, is not good for very much. It's very hot and so forth. So here we are looking at options. And I'd be very interested in finding out, has somebody, have the economists in the public service calculate the cost benefit and done a cost benefit analysis on solar versus geothermal? And what are the numbers? What did those figures tell us? What would it cost us to put down panels on 4 acres of land? We know that it would cost less than $100,000 because we have had some of the experts in the field take a look at that area in Kulibistri, another area further up north, etc. And so we know that if you can get a megawatt of power from solar for 100, or even let's be generous, let's say for $250,000. Let's say $250,000 or $200 million would give you 1 megawatt. So to get 4 megawatts, you get, 200,000. You get 800,000. So for less than $1 million, you could get significant flip of the switch power from solar. That's technology that exists. A friend of ours produces the best and most efficient solar panels. I'm sure a special arrangement can be made with the Chinese government to have enough panels in Dominica. In fact, we could go further. We could go further and say, why not establish a plant, a factory in Dominica with Chinese technology, train up young Dominicans to build those panels here using Chinese technology. Let us become the supplier of solar panels to the entire region, even while we actually are producing enough power to meet our needs, to begin to run industry, and the net effect, the spread effect, the trickle up effect from that would instantly register in terms of quality of life, quality of production. You have the need to power up plants to process your fruit, plants to process your food. You can get that instantly from solar. And if you add wind to that, Matt, go to Rosalie Resort. Have you been to Rosalie Resort? I'm sure you have.
I have.
With one single turbine installed almost 15 years ago, all their power needs are met and they have excess power. You know what they're doing with the excess power, Matt? they're selling it to Domlec. So they're actually earning, and we could do the same. So the village of Grafon, which is perfectly located in 2 wind tunnels, could be producing from 1 or 2 turbines enough power to meet their needs, maybe to supply the needs of Montjean Rivière Syrique as well, or to sell the surplus back to Domlec at a lower cost, so that the benefit would spread throughout the entire customership client base of Domlec. So what I'm suggesting, Matt, is, these are matters that require careful consideration. And I know that there are young minds inside of the public service who can do and have done these kinds of calculations that would reveal the true net benefit of energy to an economy like ours, while also calculating the costs and the threats of certain approaches. For example, the threat of geothermal versus the threat of solar, the threat of geothermal versus the threat of wind power. And who says we have to have only one? That development plan that was approved for 2012 to up to the present time says what you need is a hybrid approach, which means you don't want to depend on any one source of power for your energy. Right now, we're almost totally dependent upon fossil fuels. That's bad. We don't want to be totally dependent on geothermal either. You don't want to be totally dependent on solar either. But if you have a grid that draws power from wind turbines on the east coast of Dominica, solar fields on the west coast of Dominica, hydro turbines in the interior of Dominica, you get to a point pretty quickly where you meet and surpass your local demand for 22 megawatts of power for Dominica. And there, and you don't have to sell the power to the other islands in order to make money, Dominica can become the location in the Eastern Caribbean where there's an institute for renewable energy training and technology transfer, so that we bring jobs. Like you had Ross, we now have a technology institute. We don't to replace or to add to medical schools, forestry institutes, music institutes. In other words, you could build business, create business that earns money and creates jobs for Dominicans based on the skills, talents, and resources of Dominica.
But it seems clear, Arthur, that the policymakers, the government, the authorities, are not listening to the people of Dominica. They keep going and spending millions and millions of dollars and putting the country back in more debt.
But of course, Matt, and even when they have a plan that they have approved themselves, that climate resilient development strategy is an approved plan by the cabinet of this group of guys. They approved it, but they're not paying attention to it. They're not doing any solar investment. They watch Mr. Nassif do something. Why not partner? Why didn't they partner with Mr. Nassif and expand what he was doing? Why not draw on other talent available throughout the region and the world to do what you said you were going to do, which is you're not going to build in agriculture, we had a one-crop economy, bananas. So when bananas died, our agriculture literally died with it. You don't want to replicate that kind of situation with any other thing that you do. You don't want to have one leg that you're walking on. If you sprain the ankle of that leg, you cannot walk.
I think somebody's making a point I want to draw to your attention there. The person said or says, I am listening to Arthur and I'm puzzled. Before government started geothermal, he was one of the persons criticizing government for not exploring in the renewable energy. Why now he's so critical of that project? Is it the amount of money spent so far, or is it just not viable?
No, it's not just not viable, Matt. That's not the point. And that person asked a really very good question. The point is, there is a right way and an incorrect way to do anything. I teach people to play pan. And there's a right way to teach the people to play, and there's a wrong way to teach people to play. The same for guitars, the same for saxophone, same for anything you do. So what my concern has been is that yes, we need to explore for renewables. I've proposed that for 40 years, renewable energy. But it has to be done the right way. I'm saying we have a manual. We have a manual prepared by the World Bank, drawing on all the expertise and experiences from throughout the world. It's right there. It's online. We have hard copy. All of us have read it, etc. We know. So my beef is that we are acting as if we are the, if you will, the fountain of all information on geothermal. We are not. We have to explore. We have to do it in a gentle way, a way that takes account of the fact that this is also a place we call Nature Island. So what is the net effect, the net benefit from geothermal if it destroys the basis in the Rosa Valley, let's say, for nature tourism, for example? Because, you know, let me be very concrete. One of the things that bothers me and several others is that when we looked at the environmental impact assessment studies for that project, and this goes back to the beginning, 2005, 2006, leading up to 2008, we realized that there had been no subsurface investigations. What do I mean? There had been no examination of what kind of land arrangement we had beneath the surface. What kind of soil, what kind of rock formations, what was the water doing, etc., etc. In other words, we didn't have enough information, but we anyhow gave the green light to start drilling holes through a system, a natural system, subsurface, that we had no idea what was down there. And so that is the reason. It was those kind of things. That was the reason why we said, hey, guys, this is a good thing. I never remove my support for geothermal, wind, solar, and hydro. Never. What I have said is that if we're going to do it, let's do it right, rather than create more problems for ourselves.
And as we speak, I see it's not being done right. Yeah,
it's not being done right. And even as you heard the minister say himself, if to give him the credit, if he says where they are is seeking to get 22 megawatts, that's just the power needed for Dominica. But the cost, and that is what Mr. Matthew has been raising, the cost of that power eventually is directly related to the cost of exploration and development. And look at the cost. We're approaching $400 million, and we expect, who's going to amortize that cost? To help people understand why that is relevant. On your electricity bill, there's something called a fuel surcharge. We don't produce fuel, but guess what? The cost of fuel goes up and down, and it's reflected in the fuel surcharge on your bill. So sometimes your fuel surcharge is close to 40, 45%, maybe even 50% of your consumption cost of electricity. But it's something that you don't have control over. So the point is, the cost of your major critical input is what is going to drive up or down the cost of the service you're trying to get from it. This is why bus drivers always say, if the price of gasoline go up, we need to raise our price, because there's a cost. Who's going to pay for that? So same with energy. So what we are saying is this. If the formula for developing geothermal tells you that the deeper you go, there's a direct relationship to the depth of your well and the cost of your final product, which is power, electricity. We've drilled, Matt, more than a mile down, you know. Do you realize that? Some of these wells went down to below sea level, more than a mile. So that is what the French scientists, when they saw that, they realized They did the calculation. There's a direct, not an inverse relationship, there's a direct relationship between the depth of your well and the cost of your pump. And it's easily understandable. If you have to go down 1,000 meters versus 10 meters to get the resource, the well that only has to go 10 meters is going to give you a resource that is lower cost than the well that has to go down 1,000 meters. So that's simple science. That's simple mathematics, simple economics. That there's no evidence. I have not seen any report, and I have a whole satchel of reports that have seen not one that tells you, okay, this is what the projected cost of power to the Dominican householder is going to be. As a result, and you can follow the numbers, and somebody like Matthew and others can do the checks and so forth and so on. There's no such data because they don't know, Matt. They really do not know.
But I see a question coming in here. What is the replacement cost of panels, talking solar panels, that will certainly be lost in a hurricane or bad weather? During Hurricane Maria in the Virgin Islands, we lost over 90% of our solar panels. Just a point there. Cross?
But at least it's readily replaceable. That's one.
Okay.
But also, over the last couple of decades, the Chinese have recognized that, and they have design adjustments that actually allow you to mount your panels on a raised platform. You have pillars, so you can mount them 7 feet up or 8 feet up. And it's a very simple process to unbolt. You might say, how many? The next question will obviously be, well, if you have 4-person panels, how long it will take? Well, as long as it's necessary to save them. And thank God, we generally have advanced notification of storms that are going to impact us and hit us and cause damage. So we have time. And guess what? We have a lot of idle hands, free hands that would normally be involved in maintaining the panels, but also can now be involved in unbolting and packaging and storing them flatter away from the impact of wind. But guess what, Matt? Nowadays, solar panels mounted in the field. Remember, we're not talking about mounting panels on people's rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about open field mount. But guess what, Matt? Those solar panels mounted 6 or 7 feet above the ground, you know what happens? You now cool the space below the panels to the point where in some areas now you're doing photovoltaic farming, where no farming was possible before because you have reduced the temperature from the shade of the panels. You're getting more moisture, staying longer. So a lot of people are, let's say, grazing sheep. And the sheep are grazing well close to the ground, so they're not interfering with your panel supports or your panels at all. So in other words, these are the innovative ways in which we cannot stop the hurricanes, but we can actually find a way to adapt and adjust the technology and the design to allow us not to be totally disabled by a hurricane. And I'm saying, the person from the islands north who has that experience, that I'm sure these were largely house-mounted panels. But you can overcome that relatively easy.
Somebody's asking a question, Arthur. A question to you. If this matter is not being done right, are there some violations of our planning and other environmental legislation? And if so, can citizens file a class action lawsuit against the government to stop the continuation of this project? Question.
Well, the answer on all counts is yes. In the sense that, I have had a chance when I could see,
Mm-hmm.
I had the chance to read the EIA reports, and then the other more recent reports I've had people read to me. And I'm aware that yes, they have planning permits, but I haven't seen the comprehensive permit related to the environmental management of the project. And what do I mean? When you do an EIA and you submit that to planning will look at it and tell you, okay, you can proceed. But these are the conditions under which we allow you to proceed, meaning because you have agreed that you're not going to do things that will cause damage to the surface or subsurface architecture of the area, you have to do this, you have to do that. I am not aware, because I haven't seen the planning permit document, I am not aware that these details that are very important to us are in place. That's a simple question to resolve. The people in planning can say if they have done so. And more important, Matt, when you get planning permission in a project like that, planning has to monitor the construction phase of the process. I would ask.
But it can be, it will be said, Athi, that a team like yours and yourself and other environmental scientists will say you guys are anti-development. Why are you challenging something like this?
No, it's not anti-development. If what you are doing in the name of development is going to cause more damage, it means that you're not doing something to promote development. So our job is like if you see your child drinking Coca-Cola, buster. They're thirsty and they need liquid, but what they're doing to solve the problem is causing more harm than solving the problem. So that's the same thing. So people like myself and many others throughout the world and their whole institutions, their departments of the World Bank. I've met with people from the World Bank who come here to monitor the progress of roadworks in Dominica being financed with World Bank money. And that's what has to happen. So the question is not so much whether you're for or against development. You want it done right. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things. You can want to do the best things in life, but if you mess up on the way you're going to do it, you'll never get through. And that's what we're trying to avoid, the kind of development damage that has been done in other parts of the world. And that's what the World Bank, that's why they produced a manual. If you're following the details and guidelines in that manual, you wouldn't have a problem. You will not have a problem. But part of it is you must have a mindset for those things. You must be, for example, you must be prepared to admit if you're wrong. In other words, if I set out to do something and I'm doing it badly, and somebody comes and says, I think, no, that's not the right way to do this, look at it. I must be big enough and honest enough to say, okay, partner, I didn't know. Show me how. No, it is that little humility piece and that honesty piece, that willingness to learn piece, that's missing. It's missing at the top, where people, because they hold an office, they think they are experts in the business of that office. You're not an expert. You're a policy maker. You can give guidance to the people working for you, but you have to allow your technical people to work. And technical people need to have the leeway to consult with other technical people within the government system and outside.
Athi, again, as we move and try to wrap up this discussion, geothermal is being discussed in Parliament today, and I will conclude that we'll have more discussions tomorrow. But the big question on the table there, how optimistic we are as a country that this will become a viable project. Now people are talking about class action lawsuit, millions and millions of dollars being spent. Are we getting value for money? I think, Martin, can we wrap up at this time? Good morning. Good afternoon.
Absolutely. My proposition is very, very simple. If you're so sure that what you're doing is the right thing, then you shouldn't have any difficulty about people scrutinizing it because you're doing the right thing, okay? But if you're so sure that it's not a smart thing for any country to be dependent upon one source of power, one source of energy, then you have to be willing to say to people in the private sector, say to people in the NGO sector, hey guys, why don't we start up your pilot projects solar, pilot projects wind? Why don't, hydro? Why don't we do micro hydro? The Cubans are the world leaders in the design and construction of microhydro. We know those people. Why don't we do that? Why must all eggs be in one basket? For a tiny island, that's not good. That's not resilient. That's not sustainable. That's not sensible. And it's not good for the next generation of Dominicans.
I think somebody just sent to me a message. The LGBTQ challenged the matter in court and won. Lawyers, wake up and help us save Dominica. Enough talk. Let's take action.
I would agree. There are not too many lawyers willing to stand up like Cara, but hopefully, there's a young crowd, a young wave of professionals, not just lawyers, doctors, engineers, planners. We need that next wave of young professionals to start standing up. Do a Cara in every field, and you'll see how quickly Dominica can move forward. I would endorse that, and whatever I can do to help, I'm always available.
Afi Mata, thank you very much. Environmentalist and conservationist Afi Mata on the question of geothermal. Now before Parliament, will it become a reality? Somebody says as a structural engineer, I'm sure that the solar panels can be engineered to be more hurricane resistant. It is something I have given some thoughts with regards to solar panels in Dominica.
I used to dream, I used to glance beyond the stars. Now I don't know where we are.
I hope the information Mr. Mata shared was of some great benefit to you, and you understand now the alternatives going forward. I'm blinded this time, but of course, a wealth of information. $209. $209 is the afternoon time. Hello, talk to me.
Hey, Matt Peltier, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your listeners again.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, I had the opportunity of listening to from this morning of a conversation about geothermal and listening to Afi Mate, and they always say give people their flowers. And you ask him a question about people talking about whether we anti-development, and that is something that's always used to as a defense to the mismanagement that is happening in the country. And every time you ask questions, they ask, are you anti-development? This government had a policy of sending young professionals or young people to go get an education. And I ask myself, what is an education meaning in the overall development of Dominica? And Afi has added to what I said this morning, Matt Peltier, and raised important questions. And like I said to you, the first thing I tell you.
Are you there? I suspect maybe we may have lost.
Government.
Okay.
What? Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. When the government says it's going to Parliament to request permission, it is really asking the people for permission to take another credit facility, increase the national debt on their behalf, and that means the responsibility for paying that debt is the people. And you cannot do something like that without proper information and clarity as to what is the end goal. And I've heard them talking about selling geothermal and to other countries and running cables underwater. And that tells me the level of ignorance we have in planning our country. Because if you need $103 million just to run lines from Loda, where the geothermal plant is, to a substation in Roseau, how much money do you think it's going to cost you to run lines underwater using a boat from Dominica to Guadeloupe or Dominica to any other island? You see what I'm talking about, Matt Peltier?
Mm-hmm.
And the further you go away from the generation source, the efficiency of the voltage it diminishes. It's like a river traveling over a long distance. So that tells me these people are living in a fantasy, and they're using this, lofty goals of, we can ship to other countries and using that as a selling point. But it makes absolutely no sense for somebody like me who understands what has happened in that place. And like I said, if there is an overall development plan for using electricity, because really and truly, Matt Peltier, as I said before, the Industrial Revolution was run by cheap, reliable energy. So the best use of energy is into manufacturing and creating value added. So if we have agricultural processing plants taking our raw materials, turning that into finished good, adding value to it, then electricity it becomes very, very important, because that's a part of your cost of production that you can pass on to the consumers. But if you're telling me we're spending over $300 million already, the geothermal plant hasn't produced any electricity. And Afi is right, because what they don't consider is, if you have a heat source, there is a possibility of, once you introduce cold water to your geothermal system, there's what they call enthalpy. That is just the transfer of heat. We don't know if that source is going to operate 12 years steady, because you can have a decrease or increase in the amount of heat that is generated. Just because you're introducing a colder material to something hot, it takes that heat away in the form of energy, and that can cause your system to lose efficiency. We don't know if that's going to happen. Those questions have not been answered. So if you are developing a customer system based on inconclusive or inadequate information, there may come a point where you spend over $500-600, probably $1 billion, and your system is only going to work for 4 or 5 years, and it's going to be shut down for either maintenance or lack of heat or whatever the case may be. And that is why having a pilot test at AFICE, running that system for a few years to see how it operates, is very, very important. So you don't build a system that has not been run and gonna say, oh, it's gonna generate electricity for the next 20-something years. I mean, there are lots of inconsistencies. There are lots of unanswered questions. Matt Peltier, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, I've worked in geology for a long time and did energy management. So the point about it is not because we don't want development. Look at what is happening in Marigot. I mean, we have development of an international airport, but businesses are closing down in Dominica. Over $1 billion. So what is the point? And you're telling me you come into Parliament and ask for permission to increase the national debt, and I should not ask questions? And you're telling me that the people who are sitting down there, who are representing the country, because they don't know better, we're just going to jam something down their chest and say, okay, because the government says, yes, we're going to do it, and nobody's asking, how are we going to pay that back? All the government has to do is show me the levelized cost of where this is cost effective.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the analysis of other technology they have used, the cost analysis, and show me you have done these things. Show me the numbers. Show me the financial spreadsheet that shows doing geothermal energy is cost effective. We have looked at all the other options, and based on these circumstances, this is the best option. Show me that information, and then we can have a decision. But I'm telling you, Matt Peltier, this is only a political stunt, because the administration office has spent the last 20 years of seeing how they can manipulate people to win elections.
Again, there's no value for money right there.
Well, that's what it is. And as long as people can see that there's a geothermal project or an international airport that is in process, they can use that to win elections. That's all it is. And at the end of the day, you're coming and telling me you're building all this infrastructure and you're asking me to raise the national debt without giving me adequate information. And I'm saying, unless we, the people of Dominica, use the God-given brains we have and a little bit of common sense and start asking the necessary questions and understanding that when government goes to Parliament, it's not for Roosevelt, Skerrit, and the puppets he have in office. It's for us, They're representing us. That's why they're working for us. The salary they get is to go to parliament to pass laws for us. That is where our power is. They cannot be asking us to do certain things without giving us information. People have to understand that. And I think, Matt Peltier, that's the problem, because the government sits by, and somebody made a very important point. You know, in the discussion we're talking about changing laws in Dominica, there are actions of a government that's unconstitutional. And what we need to see is more lawyers who are willing to stand up in court to fight the unconstitutional behavior of this current regime. Because you are telling me one of the biggest reasons you go to parliament is for distribution of the resources of the state, to make sure that it works for everybody. Not for red, for blue, for green, but for everybody. And we've seen the gross mismanagement, which tells me the operation of the government when it comes to managing the finances of the state is unconstitutional. Where you have the finances being controlled by a foreigner, where you have a prime minister who is the signatory to foreign accounts. I mean, this is BS. So we have to stand up. The lawyers who are sitting their backside and getting education need to go and challenge these unconstitutional activities so we can take back control of our governance. This government is mismanaging the resources of the state, and this government behaves like the resources of the state is the piggy bank of the Labour Party to do as they please, which is unconstitutional and should be challenged. Matt Peltier, Dominicans need to understand, if we don't ask the right questions, without clarity and without transparency, they should not approve anything. I mean, I understand at this point we have people in office and there's not so much control, but that is what the courts are there for. That is what the legislative branch of government is there for. When there are inconsistencies and unconstitutionality, let us fight that kind of battle. Matt Peltier, I'm listening, and you have a good evening.
Have a good day, my friend. Leonard Matthew, 2:18 is the afternoon time. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back right after this.
Eastern Trading Limited has a new, modern and upgraded look and layout for the shopping comfort and convenience of our many customers. Please visit us and let us celebrate Mother's Day in a big way from today until 12 May 2024. Come and enjoy great savings. Get a chance to win one of our many prizes. First prize, $300 voucher. Second prize, $200 voucher. 10 vouchers of $100 each. Spend $50 or more to enter the draw. Buy $100 or more and get a bottle of Banks Cherry Brandy or Banks Ginger Wine absolutely free. And check out our many specials, including Clio baked beans, 2 for only $7.90, and olives now only $6.95. Condensed tomato soup now $4.50. 15-ounce pigeon peas now only $4.50. Cream-style golden corn only $3.95. 29-ounce whole peel tomatoes only $4.50. Also, a large range of cosmetics at reduced prices. Shop and save at Eastern Trading Limited. Eastern Trading Limited, making a difference for you.
Auto Trade introduces Thrifty Thursdays. On the last Thursday of every month, get up to 20% discount of various items in the store between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. But wait, there's more. Also, look out for what Seal of the Day offer for an even bigger discount. You can't miss out on this retail savings. So come to Auto Trade on Thrifty Thursday. At Auto Trade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship. Terms and conditions apply.
Is it value for money? That's a big question on the table. On the telephone, hello. Good afternoon to you. Mhm.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, bro.
Matt, value for money. Look at that. Water that we have in ample supply. Mr. Skerritt has already said he's going to raise the price. And you know, Matt, most of the people in the Kalinago territory cannot afford the cost of water. And they were promised, Matt, you know, they were promised free water. During the election campaigning, they promised free water for the Kalinago people. And they cannot afford it, Matt. And here it is, Roosevelt Skerritt is announcing an increase in water, which we have in ample supply, which we didn't have to invest so many billions in. Granted, we did have Maria, but he did get a lot of money from the European Union to try to build it back. But he's presenting it as if it came out of the coffers of the government. But we know that that is untrue. So if the water is being raised to a point where so many Dominicans are having difficulty affording it, what to speak of electricity when we're hearing how many millions they have to be borrowing for the geothermal project, man. Man, think about that. The water is increasing. Will the electric bill be any lower? Which they also promised that, yes, the electric bill would be lower. Are they still saying that, man? Enough said.
I remember them saying that, the gas would be lower as well. Remember Petrocarib? Hello, talk to me. And a statement from Mr. Austri. Hello, talk to me. I'm here.
Blessings. You there with me, sir?
Blessings to you.
All right. Matt, maybe one day Dominicans will understand the scam, the scheme, and the game that is going on. Matt, things like, AFI, through the years, AFI has given out great suggestions. Look, you have Lennon, couple times now, Lennon will come and many other people with great ideas, Matt. But the game is, Matt, and it's a broad daylight robbery. And I talk about that brother that was with Workers' Voice, What's his name again? Alvin Thomas, Matt. I don't know if you can sort it out, Matt, and check where he was making the revelations having to do with the corruption within the structure of government. Matt, hydro is too basic. Yeah, we could do the same thing with what we want to do with geothermal. Solar panel is too basic. Where you can steal money is in geothermal. And you listen to Vince talking all this garbage, gamble, they gamble and talk all, they think they're smarter than everybody. I feel that could be their father, the both of them father, old enough. He don't know nothing. Lennon, I think he's a geologist, Matt. He's a soil scientist or whatever.
Geologist, yeah. I said geologist.
Yeah, so Matt, he's not as smart as they are because they can make billions disappear and he can stay and come and talk the technical, talk the theory, the theory of the whole thing, but he can make money disappear. So all these basic ideas of generating the same amount of electricity, Matt, they're not good enough because you can make too much money disappear there in geothermal and in solar. You can make money disappear there. So these criminals are going to stay there, Matt, and make you see. Years we are talking about geothermal. Millions are being spent and not one wattage is being generated. Matt, all who don't want to hear have to feel. You're dealing with hardcore criminals in this country, which passes for government, and one day all you will be awakened to the reality. That is what that is actually and physically and literally happening. It's no two way about it, my brethren. You're dealing with criminals that stealing the resources of the state and they're laughing, all the way to the bank. Thank you, bro.
Somebody's saying, Matt, for what I'm hearing from our people in Dominica will soon go bankrupt. Millions and millions just seem to be disappearing in thin air. No explanation. Millions of dollars spent from 2012. We have not been able to find one match. Let's get to it. Over $300 million spent, and nothing becomes a reality. And you're asking for 100 million more. 227. Hello, talk to me. Yeah.
I don't know if I misunderstood or misheard.
You misunderstood what?
Hold on a second. Matt, how long ago was it when Starboy's stupidity went to Parliament to ask for $100 and something million loan to be taken at the, what you call that, bank in Rosa by the Bay? The Ed Bank or the NBD Bank? So it was just a couple months ago, Matt.
For something else, yes.
It was for the same geothermal with some American firm, Matt. Wasn't that?
I trying to recall. Maybe you're right, but let me find out more information.
Yeah, check that out now, because to me a couple months ago he went to Parliament to seek the approval of Parliament to join with some American firm to do that same geothermal. If I'm right, Matt, check that out, please. And for now again to be going to another firm or company to get $100+ million, because people started kicking hell about it when they went to National Bank to get that loan. So, Matt, check that out for me, please.
Somebody saying you're right. I'll try to get more information on that.
Yes, Matt, a couple months ago. So what happened to that money? What happened to that money that was taken at the National Bank or the Ed Bank, what bank it was, when he went for the loan? No, not. Dominicans, open all your eyes and all your ears, and please try to put all your antennas up, all your radar up, because in Parliament there right now is a couple of yes people they have inside here. When you buy people, they cannot tell you no. They have to go to with everything you say, and the people they have inside there now, maybe one or two persons. I'm the guy from Marigot, Mr. whatever his name alone. Maybe I can stand up there to them people. All the rest will just sit down like Mezemawi. Bye bye.
All right, thank you. I'll find out more, Blue. Somebody says, are you aware that the benefits of the so-called programs of development, like geothermal housing, etc., is based on personal benefits to the government promoters, as seen in their wealth accumulation beyond their salaries? Somebody's just asking the question there. A lot of on-the-table deals, huh? Hello, talk to me,
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah, tell. It was $15 million.
$15 million.
Yeah, $15 million. I think about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, he went to the bank to get that with some American company, you know. I tell you, it was $15 million.
15 million, okay. Millions and millions, huh? Hello, talk to me. The telephone. Hello, yes?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Well, all I have to say about what's going on there is that the government of Dominica, especially the leader, they're wicked. They're so wicked, they're sucking the blood of Dominicans. And Dominicans, a few Dominicans doesn't realize that. You know, that is wickedness. You had that project going on for years. All right? The amount of money going that, and there's nothing to show.
Nothing.
You're still coming back for money. My brother, you're very wicked. And I'm so sorry. You as a Dominican Prime Minister, my brother, you have so much to pay back for. for what you to do, Dominican. That's my contribution.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, but if they could, they would say something like this. I like Linus Vepladu. I wanted to tell my family brought me to Linus after I die. And the way Linus took care of my body with respect and dignity, Linus Funeral Home, 30 years of experience, professional, reliable and compassionate service. We've had 24-hour emergency service. So long, Pakite Anye Basu PA 449-1800, 275-7564, 449-2100, or the emergency number 277-1800. Evacute to be there, Linus. That time is for you to breathe and grieve. Linus is not willing that any should die, but Bobot, Zandra, you must go. So when you go, hold the best chaperone. Linus Funeral Home. Mama Tutu Famdi, si c'est pas Linus, il a fini à l'été.
Our numbers are 449-1800, 449-2100, 275-7564, and 276-0400. Call Lyndhurst Funeral Home today.
All right, we're here. It's 2:32 in the afternoon.
You know what, Matt? What I've realized, by the time this geothermal thing is done, Dominica is gonna have some most millionaires that cannot account for their millions, and the public of Dominica gonna do nothing about it. They're already getting away with everything because they're buying up Roseau like crazy, and all kind of land. You're seeing all kind of buildings going up, and nobody can tell you whose it is. So we have a population of what, 75, 60,000 people, but we have the most millionaires. By the time we look at it in the Caribbean, Dominica will have the most millionaires, and most of them is ministers from a small country, less than 100,000 people. Can you imagine that? And nobody says anything about that. Geothermal, they knock a good foot, because a lot of people gonna make a lot of money from geothermal. Just wait, more and more money gonna be poured into it. All you think right now, Scary worry for all you, Scary gonna pass all kind of thing in Parliament for him to get what he have to get. And in the meantime, where is the $6 billion? I guess it in the sea somewhere, floating on a raft somewhere. Dominicans, wake up now, please. Wake up now. Are you not seeing what is going on? All you're getting poor while these people getting rich. These people can buy lands. These people can buy houses. They can go on lavish trips. And you guys cannot. You cannot even pay for a ticket. You have to go and beg them to buy you tickets. I listened to the Prime Minister's wife talk about, so many people are coming in and so many action, people coming in to do action, to take the money out of Dominica. And she's proud about that. And then talking about, we can do our hair and our nails and, and not one VIP. That is what we come to. We cannot even feed our children. We cannot even send our children to school. We cannot give them a decent meal to put in their bellies so that they could go and learn well. And that is what we boast about. When these people can take all kind of trips, go anywhere they want in the world on first class as that, Take private jet out of Dominica. How many people can go in the private lounge they have at Melvin Hall? Not many, very people. But we have no problem with that. It's business as usual. We okay with our little pittance while they have bulos. That's sad.
That's the harsh realities of the day, huh? 2:36 in the PM. Hello, talk to me.
Yeah, Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Matt, I listen to the program, right, as usual. And you see Blue?
Uh-huh.
Blue on target, man. But Matt, let me say this. That's not diverting your program. Nobody's trying to do that to you. You're man enough to put people in place. But Matt, you know why I'm at home? I'm thinking why the people them really did not want Lennox Clinton in Parliament, Matt. That man would be a headache for them. And Matt, once I'm on that, let me say this. I do not want anybody to ask Linton whether he going to the thing by my area there in Soufriere, that function they're going to have. Anybody I'm ask Linton whether he's going to not ask Tony Caesar. Leave Linton alone. Thank you, Matt.
Well, that will be his choice. 2:37 is the afternoon time. Let's take another phone call. 2:37, 16 seconds. Are you there? Yes? Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm there.
All right.
But you know something I cannot understand? It have so much people that represent the Labour Party. We call them ministers.
Mm-hmm.
But they're supposed to represent their community, their constituency.
Yes.
Or their constituents. They're supposed to represent. But not one of them in nincompoop you will find that represent their community, you know. All of them does that to represent Skerrit, you know. But if Skerrit go to Parliament today or tomorrow and Skerrit say, I'm going to destroy the whole of Dominica, all of them nincompoops will say yes, you know. None will say no, leave my constituency behind, you know. But I just can't understand, Skerrit have them there under a spell. And they need to check themselves, you know, because I cannot believe big men and women like that can give up themselves to one little boy from Vegas like that. Have so much powers over them. They need to check themselves. They need to go for prayers because Skerrit have them under a spell. Not one can defend their constituents. Not one of them. They must agree with what Skerrit say. Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you. Let's take another break. We'll come right back. This is Q95.
Auto Trade introduces Thrifty Thursdays on the last Thursday of every month. Get up to 20% discount of various items in the store between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. But wait, there's more. Also, look out for what Zillow Today offer for an even bigger discount. You can't miss out on this retail savings. So come to Auto Trade on Thrifty Thursday. At Auto Trade, it's more than a vehicle. It's a relationship. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, Blue, you're right. Somebody just sent me a note on that. Minister of Energy Vince Henderson has said that OMA Technologies Incorporated is committed to delivering geothermal power plant in Dominica by December 2025. He was speaking during the eighth meeting of the first session of the 11th Parliament held recently. The government of Dominica sought parliamentary approval to obtain a bank guarantee from the National Bank of EC 13.5 million to secure the commitment for the construction of the geothermal plant. That was in January 22, 2024. Yeah, so Blue, you're right on point there, okay? They were looking for some money, 13.5 million. See, more millions, huh? 239. That's an additional 13 million to the 100 they're asking for. I can't even go on the trip. I can't buy my ticket. It may be a struggle, but I feel good about it. It's not l'argent volé. The conscience must be burning them. Wicked set of people. Somebody says in a WhatsApp message. Well, they like it, so it's sweet, huh? $240. Hello, yes.
Matt, we always hear the figure of how much is being borrowed, but how much is it being borrowed at? What is the interest rate, Matt? And because that's going to mean how much more we have to pay back over time. We need to hear that interest rate because they used to criticize the UWP for their interest rate. What is the interest rate, Matt? Thank you.
All right, thank you too. Thank you.
selfish man. I won't be involved in this election. I don't know already, I want fame. Plus I ain't looking for fortune again. All I'm asking is that you pay close attention to the many problems we all face from dawn to dawn. You're intelligent, I think, and you should face issues. But you're behaving like a moron, cussing me for where I'm born, but you pipe and handle water. You pay too much for butter. Take it, Steve, be man, go.
You like it, so it's sweet.
The system is such a bloody problem. Take it, Steve, be man, go. Agriculture's in a state, planning is inadequate. Take it, Steve, be man, go. The northern and southern idol, the two kingpins are bubble. We know, we like it so. We like it so. Anything that's wrong, he go put it right. Georgie Porgy tell we the other night. So instead of displaying impatience, cool yourself and give the fella a chance. How the hell you could say, oh, and I'll go do better? But we send you back Grenada in a drum.
Somebody's asking the question, why is the government of Dominica borrowing money to finance a company in Arizona?
Plenty roti, plenty rum. Hospitals have no limit. This brown paper they're using. Take the steel beam and go. Public transportation is an abomination. Take the steel beam and go. Well, food goes.
Somebody's saying there, man, geothermal, cheaper energy, another failed DLB promise.
Classified information.
The promise of cheaper electricity to citizens have evaporated with the unending massive cost to date. An additional $100 million by government clearly shows that this geothermal project is an obsession. These guys act like addicts who need to get off this bad habit of incurring debt to babies yet unborn. Albatross around their neck of every living Dominican. It is time to cut the losses and move on. We can have cleaner, cheaper energy in the three other areas: solar, hydro, and wind.
You back in a jackass in a horse race.
I cannot do government.
Say all you ain't getting
Millions and millions being spent.
to mama guy. And Bokassa say how are you going to feel the heat? The penalty to oppose is high. That's political suicide. We have no house, so we squat, living with cockroach and rat. Take this steel beam and go. This cesspit flowing over, you could catch yellow fever. Take this steel beam and go. Soldier in bulldozer, break down me shack in mover. Take this steel beam and go. It's plenty sexual favors to be a 10 days worker, we know, but
We like it so. 246. Somebody thinks I should give him a double sparrow. This one called The Prophet of Doom. Phone calls coming up.
if you happen to see and know
Happy birthday,
going wrong,
90.
some figures
Happy big birthday, 90 greetings to Gertrude Benjamin, aka Dada.
who the people trust.
Wishing you long health, long life, health, and more strength coming from your husband, children, and great-grandchildren, especially from Mary Benjamin, love alone.
To tell them that the priorities and performances on the path. It's poetic to hear them describe to you who you are. First of all, you're a megalomaniac, a power seeker, a crazy.
247. Hello, talk to me.
Please buy a short shit. Dominicans wake up. Short shit. Dominicans wake up. You continue.
You want more? You want more?
Yeah, Dominicans wake up. Up now you. I saw you continue. Stop sitting down and just say, let's leave it to God. God have enough work on his account.
All right.
People complaining every day, cost of living too high. Still they take all these subsidies away, so man could suffer and die. The situation is much too rough for anyone to ignore. I don't know that these people can't take it anymore. But to show you really and truly care, it's often misunderstood. To express an abiding love for him seldom does any good. The system is far from perfect and most certainly must improve. But to tell them that is a very dangerous move. Cause you become wicked and rebellious, counter-revolutionary, disciple of Judas, ending here the country. You're branded as an imposter, masquerading in borrowed bloom. But everybody know you're a prophet of doom and gloom.
2:48 in the afternoon. This is the Talk on the Block.
This is Caribbean.
Let's go to the telephone. Hello, talk to me. I'll play another calypso before we go. Are you there? Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, the last IMF Article 4 consultation report. One of the things that they were saying that is the Dominica is under heavy debt stress, Matt. Debt stress. And that is very important for people to understand because Matt, normally when you go to a bank to take a loan, they want to find out first your level of indebtedness already, previous indebtedness, so that they can know how much more you can take, your ability to pay it back and that sort of thing. A lot of the debt that we're hearing about Dominica owes, especially when the report from the IMF, Matt, we cannot trust those figures, especially IMF themselves have already indicated that they may not be too accurate with respect to the figures that they are getting, Matt. And Dominicans need to understand, when the government takes debt, it is we the people who have to pay back the debt, Matt. We need to remind them how we pay back the debt by taxes. That is why we have been making the point for weeks now, based on even the IMF consultations, that expect light bill to go up, expect water bill to go up, expect all type of taxes and the custom port duties and all things to go up, because that is how the government will have to collect money to pay back the debt, to get us out of the debt stress. Matt, we are over $1 billion, $1.2 billion in debt, you know, Matt.
1.5.
Exactly, 1.5 billion in debt. So that is why our debt to GDP ratio is over 100%, Matt. You check, we are contracting more debt than we are generating revenue to pay back debt. And then we have a special debt to deal with that they call the social security debt, the indebtedness to the social security. This is not just about government being able to pay back social security. We know what social security means to us as a national insurance company where everybody in the country is supposed to be a member of social security. Everybody in the country is looking forward to the social security to pay their pension. And we have the government running down that institution, putting it into debt that they cannot manage and they cannot pay back. And all of those things are concerned with respect to the debt. And then they talk about supplementary estimates, Matt. Remind the people that is $52 million they spend apart from the budget, the money that they budgeted already. Check and then remind them, Skerrit, say, right now we're not operating with budget. All the concern about is building the international airport. So you take money from everywhere.
all that were allocated money for the different departments, it will take those money and to put into international airports. That is just pure madness that is happening here, And that is why I'm saying all this to tell the people of Dominica, we need to take out this rogue government. They have no idea in terms of how to manage a country, how to monitor performance indicators and make decisions to the welfare of the country. They have no idea to do that. It's play the play. Look at Skeleton Parliament this morning, like a big deck is just like you're on a big show. It's something and have no clue what they're talking about. My boy, Dominicans need to wake up, my brother, sooner rather than later. Thanks a lot, my brother.
All right, thank you.
And vegans wake up.
Again, I just want to say happy birthday, 90th birthday to Gertrude Benjamin, a.k.a. Dada. Wishing you long life, health, and more strength. Coming from your husband, children, grand and great-grandchildren, especially Mary Benjamin, love alone. And especially from Octavia with lots of love. You happy now, Octavia? Smile.
It is time for us to take a stand. After all, this is our native land. That is why I came back to sing, to expose the wicked things that are perpetrating. It is only time for the self-destruct. Greed and power is dirty.
253.
The purpose is government was for the box. They don't really care about this country. The scheming conniving plans have caught up with them. They are facing insurmountable problems, and just as sure as the sun will rise, this government must fall. The handwriting is on the...
Good afternoon to you, Blue. Good afternoon to you.
Our Prime Minister, like a dictator. If with him you don't agree, you can't progress in your country. Our government has no respect for the business community. No dialogue, they hope party laws in this city. Taxing the poor ones who have no money. Why
My brother Dale. Good afternoon to you.
It is only time for the self-destruct. Greed and power is taking.
People are begging and crying for medical help, huh?
Purpose in government was for the box. They don't really care about this country. All the scheming, conniving plans have caught up with them. They are facing insurmountable problems, and just as sure as the sun will rise, this government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall.
This is it for us here.
Unprecedented corruption rampant throughout the island, and victimization to those who express dissatisfaction with the way this government wandering this country's revenue, accepting no accountability for the underhand things they does do. Ascertain those who made their own, and rewarding their ransom with knives. Hurricane by
shut the gate at Halcyon. I oppose them, so they come and take back the land. It is only time for the self-destruct. Greed and power is the TNT.
My visually
Their purpose in
impaired friend down in Kane Films. Good afternoon to you, brother. And in Vegas too.
All this scheming, conniving plans have caught up with them. They are facing insurmountable problems, and just as sure as the sun will this government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall.
It's 2:57 in the afternoon. Somebody said, Matt, please, just play me one. This one.
Dominica, it's me again.
Going back, way back.
This one is for all the politicians to take.
Observer. Remember this one? 2002.
I've always made it my duty to put my country first anytime it comes down to politics. And the party that addresses issues and offer the people hope is the party I would always vote. But some politicians more than others just by putting empty promises which they know they can't and don't intend to keep. Whoa, and for 5 years we can't do nothing about it. Next time I give my support to government, I will demand a mutual agreement. Last time I vote to you on a contract, and if you can't do the work, I'll take my vote back. Oh, you promise industry and prosperity and accountability. You make a fool of me. This is a joke. Take back all the damn promises and give me back my vote. Give me back my vote. Give me back my
You're on your way to Chicago. Good afternoon to you.
Give me back my vote. We trade a promise for a vote. You couldn't keep it. You wrecked my hope, so now I have to rock your boat. Give me back my vote. 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 Oh God. Die, 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 die. I'm so fed up of this system of politicians and all their lies, always making your own hand to finger in your eyes. And then when they get into power, they act just like a dictator, doing worse than the governments before. And when they're in opposition, they know all government corruption. Point down party, they never know what's going on. Whoa, and if you talk, you'll be surprised to see how you're victimized. We have to make politics.
Good afternoon to you, Claude in Florida. Or from Florida. And Tammy, good afternoon to you.
They're always looking into it. Oh, to promise employment and develop.
Vanya and Johnny in Chicago. Good afternoon to you.
This is no joke. Take back all the damn promises and give me back my phone. Give me back my phone. Give me back my phone. Give me back my phone.
You want your vote back, huh? Too many promises, empty promises.
For a vote, you couldn't keep it. You killed my hope, so now I have to rock your boat. Give me back my
That was in 2002. 18 years after.
vote. Give me back my vote.
Remember that song, Pero, Let My People Go? Pero, Let My People Go, somebody says here.
Then they want to fool us and rule us and give secret deals to make your friends prosperous. One minister to walk in talk, keep in touch with the common man, and remember who put him in his position. But you know, all they do is travel, spending and come back with nothing. They must deal prudently with the country's money. Whoa.
Our next stop, Flo Dominica.
and accountability. Next time you see election time coming, my contract will be ready and waiting. Then I won't have to put on no badge of ignorance when I vote again next time. Oh, you promise progress, not being a mess. Well, if that's your best, then I must.
Hey, Press C. Hunts Point, good afternoon to you, brother. When are you coming back home?
Give me back my phone. Give me back my phone.
Don't worry, the guys, man. Your picture is not there, okay?
Give me back my phone. We trade a promise for a vote. You couldn't keep it. You wrecked my hope, so now I have to rock your boat. Give me back my phone. 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 I like it, but this is serious. This is no joke. Get up. Hey, la, la. Put him in his position. But you know, all they do is travel, spending and come back with nothing. They must still pretend they with the country's money. Whoa, that's responsibility and accountability. Next time you see election time coming, my contract will be ready and waiting. Then I won't have to put on no badge of ignorance when I vote again next time. Oh, you promise progress, not being a mess. Well, if that's your best, then I must confess. This is a joke. Take back all your damn promises and give me back my vote. 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 Give me back my vote.
Hey, Saran, how you doing?
For a vote, you couldn't keep it. You wrecked my hope, so now I have to rock your boat.
Locked into Q
Give me back my vote.
at the Salisbury bus stop.
Give me back.
Bowie, good afternoon to you.
But this is serious.
You're right. Everybody's locked into Q.
Get up. Hey, la, la.
Until tomorrow.